What if everyone forgot who I was?
What?
They're coming here because of me, right? Because I'm Peter Parker? So cast a new spell, but this time make everyone forget who Peter Parker is.
What if both the Green Hulk and the Red Hulk showed up in Spider-Man Brand New Day? With Red Hulk's explosive debut in Captain America Brave New World and Bruce Banner still out there, the stage is set for Gamma-powered chaos. Spider-Man could find himself caught between two raging forces, one trying to restore control and the other trying to keep it. Well, here's what we know. So here's what's going on with Spider-Man Brand New Day and why people are getting excited. There have been a bunch of reports saying that Mark Ruffalo is back as Bruce Banner and that Hulk is going to have a major role in the film. That's especially interesting because even though Hulk and Spider-Man have both appeared in big ensemble movies like Infinity War and Endgame, they've never really had any meaningful screen time together. There was just too much going on in those stories to focus on their dynamic. But it looks like Marvel is finally paying that off, which is kind of a full circle moment. Way back in the 70s, Stan Lee actually tried to get a crossover going between Spider-Man and Hulk with the old Lou Ferrigno and Nicholas Hammond versions. That never happened, but it seems like Brand New Day could be the moment we finally see that concept realized, just in modern MCU form. Now, part of the reason all this is happening might be tied to delays with Marvel's Phase 6, especially Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. Because of those scheduling changes, Spider-Man Brand New Day is now coming out before Doomsday. That accidentally fixes some potential timeline issues Marvel was going to run into, so it actually worked out in their favor. What's even more interesting is how the Hulk fits into all of this. The reports haven't said exactly what version of the Hulk we'll be getting, but since Bruce Banner is a professor and Peter Parker is heading into his college years, it would make a lot of sense for Hulk to be some kind of mentor figure. That also ties back to the MIT storyline in No Way Home, where Peter's chances of getting in were ruined because of the fallout from Doctor Strange's memory-wiping spell. That same spell has opened up some interesting possibilities too. In the comics, there's a storyline where a similar spell causes everyone to forget Peter Parker is Spider-Man, even Bruce Banner. But here's the twist. The Hulk personality still remembers. So in Brand New Day, it's possible we might see Bruce Banner totally unaware of who Peter is, while Hulk knows exactly who he's talking to. That could lead to some funny or even emotional moments, depending on how they play it. And while all that's happening in the MCU, Sony's doing their own thing. They've got that live-action Spider-Man noir show with Nicolas Cage, which is separate from the MCU, and people got a little confused when a rough-looking trailer leaked. But that's Sony's lane. They hold the rights for hour-long Spider-Man dramas, so you won't see the Tom Holland version crossing over into TV anytime soon. Back to Brand New Day, though. Marvel seems to be building a science bros angle with Bruce and Peter teaming up intellectually. Banner's long been portrayed as one of the MCU's smartest characters, and Peter is obviously no slouch. In fact, you can spot Bruce in murals at Midtown High back in Homecoming, purely for his scientific work. They could take this team up in a few different directions. Maybe Bruce is just helping Peter with school stuff, or maybe Peter goes to him for help with a bigger problem. Either way, it opens the door for some action-packed scenes, maybe even Hulk and Spidey fighting side by side or even against each other temporarily. There's also a chance we'll see other Hulk versions down the line, like Joe Fixit or Maestro, especially since Marvel's been building towards something like World War Hulk. There's even leaked concept art showing Scar, Hulk's son, She-Hulk, and a whole town full of Hulks, hinting at even bigger plans. Whether or not it all leads to a billion-dollar box office hit is anyone's guess, but it sounds like Marvel is finally ready to explore some of the cooler, more comic-accurate crossovers we've been waiting years to see. That said, after Captain America Brave New World finally gave us a glimpse of Harrison Ford's President Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross turning into Red Hulk, a lot of fans started asking what's next for him. Even though his transformation only happens during the third act, it's a huge shift in the MCU because it opens the door for Red Hulk to show up in other projects. One of the more surprising rumors, which actually ties back to the comics in a clever way, is that Ross, as Red Hulk, might appear in the Spider-Man Brand New Day movie that's reportedly in development, and that isn't as random as it sounds. In the comics, Ross and Peter Parker don't cross paths that often, but during the Brand New Day era, there were some government military threads running in the background of Spider-Man's world. It was a time when Peter was dealing with the fallout of revealing his identity during Civil War, which of course he later undid with some supernatural help, and the government, particularly those in power like Ross, kept a close eye on vigilantes. Ross, who's never been too trusting of superheroes who don't follow the rules, had a growing interest in managing or even eliminating potential threats. That alone would make for a compelling connection to a more grounded Spider-Man film. But it's not just the political overlap that makes this Red Hulk cameo feel possible. Ross becoming Red Hulk brings a whole new dynamic to how the government handles powered individuals. This isn't just about control anymore, it's about power and what happens when those who make the rules start breaking them with brute force. That's the kind of conflict Spider-Man always finds himself stuck in. He wants to do the right thing, but when the people in charge start using fists instead of justice, Peter can't just sit it out. So having Ross, now transformed into this gamma-powered behemoth, step into Peter's world raises the stakes without needing a galactic threat. It makes things personal, especially if Ross sees Spider-Man as a rogue element getting in the way of order. Also, it's worth noting that if Red Hulk shows up in a Spider-Man film, it doesn't necessarily mean he's the main villain. It might be more of a setup or a subplot. Maybe he appears briefly, dealing with fallout from Brave New World, or maybe Peter stumbles into one of Ross's covert operations while tracking a villain of his own. That's often how Marvel weaves these characters into new corners of the universe, just enough to tease future storylines or build tension across multiple movies. So, even if his Brave New World screen time was limited, Ross as Red Hulk isn't going away anytime soon. A cameo or role in Spider-Man Brand New Day would be a smart way to keep his story moving while also pushing Peter's next chapter into more morally gray territory. But we both know that neither Red Hulk nor Green Hulk is going to be the actual villain in Spider-Man Brand New Day. It just wouldn't fit the kind of story Marvel seems to be setting up, especially with Peter Parker now stripped of his connections and identity. That said, it doesn't mean those gamma-powered titans won't make an appearance. In fact, Thunderbolt Ross, or more specifically his Red Hulk persona, does have a unique tie-in through the comics, especially via the mysterious Red Cloud. So, according to a bunch of theories rooted in the comics, Red Cloud, a villain with a smoky, shifting form and deadly power set, has actually shown up in the Daily Bugle storylines. And guess who's deeply involved behind the scenes? Thunderbolt Ross. While not exactly the traditional Red Hulk in this version, he's hinted to have had influence over the Red Cloud's actions, especially during tense political cover-ups and anti-hero crackdowns. It makes sense because the Red Cloud fits perfectly into a street-level story that still feels connected to the wider MCU. Even though Ross won't be the central villain, his shadow could loom large through this dark, mysterious force. And with Spider-Man back to basics, no Stark tech, no Avengers backup, it opens the door for a grounded villain like Mr. Negative to shine, while something like Red Cloud lingers in the background, possibly tied to Ross's ongoing political agenda. It's a layered setup, and if Marvel and Sony are thinking smart, they could use this to link Peter's street-level drama with the broader consequences of the Gamma experiments gone wrong. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Your suggestions for future videos are always welcome in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay in the loop. And if you want, you can share your thoughts about this video in the comments.